To put it bluntly, we're not safe at all. Malware is designed to cause damage or immobilize computers and their systems. Malware tends to be the most common threat. US-based security researchers continue to stumble upon more encrypted data of stolen passwords, private information, and billions of dollars worth of company R&D. Just this year alone, numerous companies and their customers' private information have been stolen, such as Adobe, Bank of America, Twitter, Facebook, and the New York Times. The largest and most known independent hacking group is Anonymous, made up of worldwide hackers. While China seems to be our most competitive counterpart as they continue to test and breach companies and individuals worldwide. I interviewed 2 fellow college students and 1 Cisco Systems employee about cybersecurity. Let's hear what they have to say.
When it comes to cybersecurity, I don't know a whole lot. I know, a few companies like Norton or McAfee or things like that. Updates, the biggest thing when they find things, they just seem to slow everything down. Probably a lot less than if they have actually got a virus or something like that. But for the most part, you live with them because you have to.
As far as like cybersecurity goes, I feel like I know very little. I know that I have McAfee Internet Security on my laptop. I know it's supposed to do something, protect me from viruses and unwanted spam, and but as far as like how to protect myself, I know little to nothing.
No way I know enough about how to protect myself or cybersecurity.
To get through an average day, I know to avoid certain email. I know to avoid going on certain websites, especially with the emails. I know those can be called phishing scams, and I know that hackers can try to gain your information through those. I know that it's important not to open those emails, especially if it's from someone that you don't recognize. I've also seen with the phishing scams sort of messages from people that I know saying they're in some sort of crisis. And that's happened a lot, but it's never been the case, and it's obviously some hacker trying to gain information, possibly personal information.
I run a Mac, so I don't have to deal with a lot of those programs and stuff. Apparently the Mac just takes care of it for me, so if it's not, I'm certainly hampering the process. But as far as protecting cybersecurity, I make sure my emails are cleared out.
I
spam folder.
try to look for all the latest updates. I just updated my Microsoft Windows, now it's Windows 8.1. Whenever my McAfee Internet Security warns me that I'm going to a potentially dangerous site or a site with even like risks, I'll tend to avoid it. I don't think I've ever gone to a site that was labeled as hazardous or a warning. I try to keep my emails clean. I'll empty my spam inboxes every now and then. And the other thing that I've heard is good to do is to try to sign out of your accounts that may contain personal information. And I'll also do that.
No, not really. Just because of past experience with them, I haven't had to really deal with the cybersecurity program anytime recently, but they seemed pretty shiesty back when I was working.
I
with them.
trust cybersecurity and I distrust cybersecurity. I think that there is a fine line between what information you can give or should give and what you shouldn't. So for example, like I'll always be very hesitant to give out my social security number, write it down anywhere, or even my email, because people can gain a lot of information through emails. I'm a little distrusting of all the surveillance that I know happens. I'm not necessarily sure what it's for. I feel like if I knew what its purpose was, then I may or may not trust it or distrust it more than I already do. And the main point there is I feel like I should know how I'm being watched, if I'm being watched, because my activity that I do on my computer I think should be private to a certain extent, especially if it's dealing with personal information. I don't think I should be watched, especially if I'm not doing anything harmful.
So throughout my work, we measure security based on our specific service. And in our service, we measure the security on the different assets that we have under our service. So every quarter, we look at the security for each asset and measure it based on a percentage. And if any of the percentages are below 100%, then that gets reported and documented and gets reported all the way up to the CIO, and that is when we have to tell the CIO what we have to do in the future to make things better within security and how we will increase that percentage the next quarter. So the security precautions that I usually take in my daily life with my own devices, first off, begins with the malware protection and getting away all the cookies and the possibilities of different viruses on my own personal laptop. On my cell phone, I have an Apple iPhone, and I am usually not as careful with that just because Apple's known to detect viruses within the company and not usually on a per uses basis or per user basis. And lastly, with an example that I usually take is when I go and log on to my Bank of America website, they have an extra security icon that makes sure that you are the person that you are the person that you are. Make sure that you recognize the specific icon before you log into your bank account, and that adds an extra security function so that there's no dummy home pages that people make and get your passwords. I don't think society is ready for cyber attacks because they usually just go about their day searching the internet without any hesitation, and usually they just think that the computer is slow and nothing else is wrong with it. So personally, I don't think that I'm totally ready for a cyber attack just because I am not exactly sure how attackers get into the computers. However, what I do know is I know that there are attackers out there and that we do need to be hesitant on where we go and what we type in, the passwords that we save on our computers. In my personal life, the only thing that I know and I do is download the software that is behind the scenes and does protect our computer to keep away from cyber attacks.